Hello, everyone. I am Kadhi Rana from Logistics Insiders, and I'm pleased to warmly welcome you all to today's live session. I feel delighted to announce the inaugural edition of Indo-Canadian Digital Supply Chain Tech Conclave. It is a joint initiative by the Trade Commissioner Service, the Government of Canada, and Logistics Insider. The event features a panel discussion where supply chain industry experts from Canada and India will deliberate on the theme Paving the Way for Intelligent Global Supply Chains. Along with this, we will also witness a special solution oriented session where leading Canadian supply chain technology companies will present innovative solutions to various supply chain related problems. Now, over the last few years, the supply chain ecosystem has gotten more and more complex, with multiple tier supplier networks and global distribution lines. To keep up with this expanding supplier network, and in order to improve the ability of moving goods across transportation networks, companies are required to recognize and overcome institutional roadblocks from key stakeholders, legacy systems, and global logistics. As companies realize the need for a holistic approach in making the future movement of goods efficient, they began to embrace a shift to digitalize their largely physical world through technologies and to drive enhanced analytics. Now, without any further ado, I would like to formally jump into the agenda for today's event. And to begin with, I am honored to call Dr. Jivisha Joshi Gangopadhyay, Deputy Secretary Logistics, Ministry of Industry and Commerce, Government of India, to present the welcome note. Welcome, Dr. Jivisha. Now the stage is all yours.
Thank you so much. A very warm welcome to all the dignitaries who have joined us today for this conference and meeting. And we have all joined today to discuss few of the most important topics in the recent times. When we look at the global supply chain and when we look at the past 2 years where the whole world has been shocked by the black swan event of COVID and how it has led to interruption of supply chains world over, leading to the various losses and the lessons which we have learned in the recent times. I think it's all the more important that we indulge in such discussions time and again and try to learn from each other when it comes to managing our supply chain. And on this regard, we have got few very important topics which we are going to discuss today, a few 8 topics which we are going to have panel discussions on. I would just try to set a little background here. When we look at the India, it's one of the fastest growing economy in the world, and there is a huge rise in the demand in terms of goods and services due to the population growth and improvement in the standard of living of people. The demand which we have seen in past few years and the number of the exports, the way they have risen, it has shown that what is the tendency, what are the trends when we talk about the movement of goods and services. Considering the critical role of the logistics sectors in the country's economy, it is very important that we work upon the improvement of our logistics supply chains. When we look at the and we look at the logistic performance index, which is published by the World Bank, we'll find that in 2018, Canada ranked as high as 20 with a score of 3.73. When you look at the logistic performance index and you look at the size of countries, especially area wise, you'll see that Canada has performed tremendously well compared to other countries, and that is something which we can learn from them, and the way Canada is moving ahead, especially with artificial intelligence. And I was just seeing that when we look at the number of AI patents during 2015 to 18, Canada has produced the maximum number of patents in G7 countries and China, which has mainly happened due to the shift in the focus on patenting as a key aspect of the economy. Government has included an intellectual property strategy, which has helped the companies to find research from government and academia that can be licensed and commercialized. I think that's a very, very important thing on which a joint understanding can be developed, and we can look forward to hearing more on this topic. I guess Canada as a powerhouse for global AI development is one of our major panel discussion today. I hope all the people who have joined today will have a very fruitful discussion, as all the topics which have been lined up, whether it is the role of AI, the emerging technologies, harnessing the power of cloud, or the modern warehousing, the controls of your shipment, and how to be future ready in the coming times. These are very important topics, and I hope everyone who has joined us today will add value to the discussion, and we all will end up learning and understanding this very fragmented sector of logistics in a more comprehensive manner. I'm looking forward to all the discussions there, and as you know that our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji has recently launched PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan for Multimodal Logistics Development. We are all the more focusing on how to bring more attention in a comprehensive development when it comes to supply chain, to address the issue of end-to-end connectivity in the country. So I'm looking forward to hearing from all of you, and I will just pass my best wishes to everyone who is joining us on the panel discussions today. Thank you so much.
Uh, Thank you, Dr. Divisha, for your wonderful remarks. So now, moving forward, can we please have on the stage Miss Rupa? She is the Trade Commissioner at Trade Commissioner Services, Government of Canada. We'll hear Miss Rupa with her remarks now. Welcome to the show, Miss Rupa. The stage is yours. You can please carry.
Thank you, Karvi. Good evening to everyone joining from India, and good morning to all joining from Canada. I'm delighted to introduce today's speakers from Government of Canada. Our first speaker is a recipient of Queen Elizabeth II Diamond Jubilee Medal for her significant contributions to Canada. Not just that, she is an inspiring leader to young change makers in India and a strong advocate of Canada-India bilateral relations. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Amanda Strahan, Deputy High Commissioner of Canada to India, for a welcome address. Over to you, Amanda.
Good evening and good morning to those of you joining us from Canada. Thank you very much for joining us today. And thank you, Dr. Jivisha, for your opening comments. Dr. Jivisha Joshi Gangopadhyay from the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India. Distinguished panelists, ladies and gentlemen, I am delighted to welcome you all to this very important and timely webinar. In the closely connected world that we live in today, the importance of supply chains, logistics, and the role of technology in keeping goods and commodities moving simply cannot be overstated. This webinar will provide a great opportunity for Indian and Canadian companies in this sector to learn about each other's expertise, needs, and opportunities for collaboration. India and Canada share a thriving bilateral relationship based on expanding economic ties, shared commitments on priorities, deep people-to-people links, and active political engagement. Prior to the disruption caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, the value of Canada's economic partnership with India was rapidly approaching $100 billion. This increase in trade is reinforced by exponential growth in bilateral investment. By our calculations, Canadian institutional investment into India alone has topped $60 billion. For example, Brookfield is the largest foreign private investor in India. Fairfax is the majority owner of the Bangalore International Airport. CPP Investments has been actively participating in several recent high-profile Indian IPOs, including Paytm, Nykaa, Policy Bazaar, and Zomato. In July of this year, CPPI invested $800 million in Flipkart, India's largest e-commerce platform, and the owner of PhonePe, the largest payments platform in India. There are now more than 500 Canadian companies with a presence in India, while an additional 1,000 are actively engaged in trade and investment with India. And more than 100 Indian companies have invested in Canada, most notably in the IT field. The Canada-India trade connections in technology are very strong. In fact, This week, Canada is hosting a NASSCOM-led business delegation of over 40 companies. Even during the pandemic, we've continued to see major new investments announced. Underpinning the strength of our relationship in virtually all areas are strong people-to-people linkages. The growing community of more than 1.4 million Canadians of Indian origin make valuable contributions to Canadian society and are instrumental in further enhancing our bilateral relationship. Since the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, Canada and India have continued close bilateral engagement on issues including our two-way repatriation efforts, supply of key pharmaceuticals from India, sustaining global supply chains, and potential partnerships on vaccine development. And given our close relationship, it's only natural that we should aim to be even more ambitious and take our partnership to the next level. And one very productive way in which we can realize this ambition is to support Canadian-Indian partnerships which address modern supply chain challenges and explore technology trends. I would like to thank Logistics Insider for partnering with the Canadian Trade Commissioner Service to host today's event. I strongly encourage all participating Canadian and Indian companies to take full advantage of this opportunity to engage in B2B meetings and find innovative ways to collaborate. Again, thank you for being with us and enjoy today's webinar.
Thank you, Amanda, for a remarkable welcome address and drawing our audience attention to the Canada's latest investments, particularly in the Indian e-commerce supply chain. It's a great pleasure for me to introduce our next speaker, a dynamic leader who has been instrumental in growing Canada-India trade and investment relationship exponentially and continues to champion Canada-India business relations till date. As someone who has had a first-hand experience of moving people and supplies between India and Canada during the pandemic, Andrew is best placed for a keynote address today. So please join me in welcoming Mr. Andrew Smith, Minister Commercial at High Commission of Canada in India. Over to you, Andrew.
Thank you very much, Rupa. And let me begin by welcoming all of our delegates from both Canada and India to our Digital Supply Chain Conclave. As the Minister Commercial and head of the commercial program here in India, I am delighted to deliver the keynote remarks for Canada. Canada is a strategic tech partner for India in supply chain and logistics. This virtual tech conclave is an innovative platform serving to strengthen the Canada-India bilateral digital technology relationship for the supply chain and logistics industry. This platform, hosted jointly by the Trade Commissioner Service of the Government of Canada and our event partner Logistics Insider, will open up a broad range of exciting commercial opportunities between Canadian tech companies and Indian supply chain companies. In 2020, we saw large-scale supply chain disruption during the lockdown and the waves of COVID in India. And I saw this firsthand as we worked to move people and supplies between India and Canada and India during that time. Today, COVID-19 is continuing to challenge supply chains across the globe, including here in India and at home in Canada. Today's theme for the virtual tech conclave, the confluence of emerging technologies for intelligent global supply chains, is very timely considering both our governments have committed to making supply chains more resilient, as we should expect that the future will hold more complexities and more unexpected disruptions. We at the High Commission attach great importance to Prime Minister Modi's supply chain mantra, trusted source, transparency, and timeframe, for improving those global supply chains across various industries. India has made its global mark as a trusted source in pharmaceuticals and IT, among others. Canadian firms have invested in India in both of those supply chains, as well as into India's aerospace and automobile manufacturing supply chains. India can leverage the supply chain diversification strategies of companies in developed countries that can help establish India as a trusted alternative to other major producing countries. But this can only be made possible through the machine learning and digitizing all levels of supply chains to make it resilient and sustainable. India will move much more quickly and efficiently in this direction by forming strong tech partnerships and a strengthening of its traditional supply chains that are already in place. Now, more than ever, Canada is innovating tech solutions to modernize supply using emerging technologies like AI, blockchain, the cloud, drones, and the IoT. Canada is a global hub for AI development, and this has strengthened Canada's already leading position on AI and the digitalization of the global supply chains, making Canada the preferred tech partner for many countries to digitize and automate their global supply chains. The Government of Canada recently invested almost $300 million in a supercluster we call Scale AI. It is a co-innovation, co-investment hub that is helping establish Canada's leading position in intelligent supply chains applying AI. We have today Canadian digital tech companies at the B2B who have a strong intent to not just explore collaboration opportunities in the India market, but to also business exchange industry insights on Canadian technology that is helpful for Canadian intelligence supply chain. In the recent LinkedIn Live sessions, many of you had the opportunity to witness how tracing and tracking solution or Adabotics 3-day robotic fulfillment systems are rewriting the future of supply chains. It's a strategic opportunity for Indian companies to interact with these Canadian companies at the B2B session today and to forge partnerships that could elevate your existing supply chains to intelligent supply chains that can respond to disruptions proactively rather than reactively. And I'm happy to mention that we can help our Canadian clients in the industry based on our knowledge and analysis of local business potential and Canadian capabilities. I wish you all a very fruitful joint event at today's Tech Conclave. Thank you, Rupa.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you for a very insightful keynote address. And over to you, Karvi.
Thank you, Ms. Rupa, and thank you to all our honorable speakers for setting the tone for today's event. Now, before we move on with our panel discussion, I would like to inform our audiences that we are going to go into a transition stage for 1 to 2 minutes. So please wait for us patiently while we come back.